All right. Well, first of all, thank you very much to the organizers, and thank you, Sonia. It's great to see you on screen. I very, very much miss Belgrade, and for years I've been watching the Belgrade Security Forum, and I'm happy to be a keynote speaker. It's an enormous privilege for me. I want to start my discussion today with the question that I get most often, which is, what is the new administration's policy to the Western Balkans? And I'll tell you that the policy is consistent and one that has been followed by every administration since Clinton. That is that the Western Balkans, all of them, all 6 countries, should be part of the European Union and should be part of it soon. They are already culturally, historically, and economically European. Many of them have already made enormous progress. And our hope is that working together with our European colleagues, we can convince the reluctant member states that they are not as much of a risk as they are an opportunity. And I want to echo what Ambassador Joffred said, that the European Union is a sphere of opportunity, of freedom, of rights. And I want Europe my European listeners to know that's what people see when they look at the European Union. That every country that's joined the European Union has become more democratic, more stable, and more prosperous. That even the prospect of being a candidate has made countries undertake enormous democratic and economic reforms. So that's what we wish for the Western Balkans, and we wish for it soon. The difference that you'll see in this administration is the urgency in which we're going to discuss some of the remaining problems of the European Union. But more importantly, while many of the people inside, the analysts about the Balkans continue to see the Balkans through the 90s. In fact, some of the politicians continue to see their leadership through the prism of the 90s. We don't. We see them through the prism of the 21st century, which is they are an enormous opportunity for Europe, for the United States, for the transatlantic community. The Western Balkans are a tremendous economic driver of growth. And I will give you an example about Serbia, for example, the one that I know the best. So from 2000, the economy of Serbia has not doubled, it's not tripled, it's grown 7 times. That it has enormous potential for continued growth. Its budget deficits are sustainable. It has fiscal numbers that make a lot of other developed countries jealous. The economies of Montenegro and Kosovo just this year, even during COVID, grew by double digits. So it's this opportunity that this administration sees, and it's already happening, and it's happening under the noses of the analysts and even some of the politicians, that a lot of the drivers of this growth, which are business, educational institutions, and some of the civil society organizations, are doing it. And COVID has only intensified that. During the COVID crisis, because of border closures, you were seeing Serbian tourists going to Albania for tourism. You were seeing Albanian businessmen coming to Belgrade to get vaccinated. So over the next few years, what we want to be talking about is not the lingering problems of the 90s, but the opportunities of the 21st century. And this is where we're going to focus a lot of attention. And we welcome all of the opportunities for economic integration, whether they be the Common Regional Market or the Open Balkans Initiative. We want to partner, because for years, for the last 20 years that I've been involved with the Balkans, I have watched young people leave the Balkans and build America and build Europe. The people of the Balkans are successful everywhere they go. We need to make them successful within the Balkans. And I can tell you this already, the next Tesla and the next Putin are already born. And the question is, will they live in Belgrade and Sarajevo, or will they live in Berlin and New York? And that's a key question. Now, that's not to say that there are not challenges in the Balkans. In fact, one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest disappointments is that many of the politicians have not evolved in their thinking, that this is the reality of the Balkans, and yet we're still discussing problems in the 90s. We are still discussing issues that should have been resolved a long time ago with political will. And we need to see politicians who have commitment to the European aspirations, to the will of the people. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. And we see some disturbing trends in the concentration of power in political parties, in the concentration of economic opportunities to only those connected to those political parties. And while I am a big fan of Serbia, I will say that the same Ministry of Finance that has managed the economy so skillfully has at times been weaponized to audit the activities of civil society organizations when they criticize the government. In Bosnia, the idea of further disintegration is undermining confidence in the economy and bringing people to bringing back the specter of what happened in the 90s instead of what's happening in the 21st century. So the choice for the Balkans is really going to be about what kind of leaders are going to emerge from the region. Will it be leaders who embrace this idea of an economic miracle, of an economy of $125 billion, a market of 20 million people with growth rates of 5, 6, 7%, all doable? Or are we going to continue discussing the problems in the 90s? And look, that choice is the choice for the people, not the choice for the international community. I gave an interview yesterday on Al Jazeera, and I was interested to see some of the comments. Some of the comments were really disappointment that the United States did not have a plan to choose the leaders of the Balkans, or that I didn't state forcefully our intention to use sanctions. I don't want to disappoint. That will be a tool that we are going to use, but that is not going to be our primary tool. And even if we use sanctions and other measures, that is not the solution to the Balkans. The solution is elections. The solution is the motivation of populations, the participation of the public in the political space, the recognition by leaders that they have to open up media, they have to open up dialogue with civil society, with opposition, that the key to a stronger Western Balkans is really one that creates inclusion, not exclusion, that is about integration, not disintegration, that is about ethnic reconciliation, not nationalist politics. And whether or not politicians understand my message, the public does. I have been humbled by all of the expressions of support that I'm getting from chambers of commerce, from universities, from different groups of people who are not connected to the political structure about how they want to make this happen. So from my perspective, and for the next few years under this administration, what we are going to focus on is those people who want to make Serbia, want to make the Western Balkans a reality for Europe and a reality for this economic miracle that is going to transform the region. And it's already transforming it. And we are going to be, the region can count on the United States as a partner in all of this. I look forward to coming back next year and briefing you on all of the things that we have done to further that vision. Thank you very much.